everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Bri.
And I'm Alex.
And welcome back to the Damn Strong podcast. How are we doing today, Alex?
We're doing
good?
great.
Good.
Did I tell you how many steps I've racked up the last few days? I don't think I mentioned it to
No,
you.
but I'm sure it's insane because you've been doing that. Don't you have a walking pad? Or
Yeah,
just,
so
and you've been doing the bike too. I don't know if you're counting that towards it as well.
I'm not really,
Okay.
because my hands stay pretty much stationary. I'm usually working
Right.
on something when I'm biking.
Okay.
So maybe it tracks a little bit, but definitely not very much.
Yeah.
And the walking pad under my desk, I've only been doing it for maybe like 1 hour at a time.
Yeah.
But it just like it adds, like 3, 4, 5, 6,000 steps, right?
Yeah.
In just an hour. And
Yeah.
so it's like my steps normally when I'm not like really trying to push them, maybe in a fat loss phase or whatever, are around like 7,000, 8,000 per day. Lately, they have been the last 3 days, 17,000, 17,500, and 18,500 steps.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that insane?
That actually doesn't surprise me at the same time because all my clients that have walking pads at home, they rack up the 15 pluses almost always.
15 plus is like easy now. Yeah.
Easy. Yeah. That is crazy. Well, you can see if you're watching on YouTube, I always have my walking pad back here. Does your desk go up? You have a standing desk, right?
It goes up and down. Yep.
That's what I really want to get next is a standing desk. That way I can go up and down and not have to pull this out and walk separately. I mean, I guess I could answer like client texts or DMs or something and do that.
It's easier when it's just under your desk. And like I slide it in and out, but being able to work at my computer at the same time, it just, I think for both of us, it would make us more efficient, just being able to do both things at once.
What did you just recently get the walking pad? Have you had it?
No, but it's been in Maddie's office and like she likes using it pretty much every day, but I really need it when I'm in a fat loss phase so that I can just try to eat a little bit more, you know what I mean? So I don't have to keep cutting calories lower and lower.
Right.
So yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome.
The deficit's been pretty low, so I've been pretty hungry. So it's like I want to walk more so that I don't want to like send the wrong message. So maybe you can help me like word this, but I want to be able to move more so I can eat more.
Yeah,
I don't want to say like, oh, you have to earn your food or anything like that. But I mean, if you're more active, you're going to burn more calories. You'll either be farther in deficit, or if you want to stay in a lighter deficit, you can eat more.
Yeah. I mean, I posted about it before. If you want to increase your metabolism, there's two things you can do, or increase how many calories you can eat. You have to either weigh more or move more.
Yeah.
Most people aren't trying to weigh more. And so it's like, well, then you have to move more. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an energy balance. So I like that you specified, like, you don't want to send the wrong signal, but I think most people that listen to our podcast probably know, like, that's kind of how it works,
Yeah.
So have you gone ahead and increased your calories with that? Or are you waiting it out to see kind of how much it changes things for you?
I'm okay with being in a very aggressive deficit. This week I was doing like, I made that post on like a refeed and whatever, we can call it whatever we want, but I was just eating more calories, eating closer to maintenance. I was actually still in a deficit based on what my expenditure is, but it was like 100-calorie deficit instead of being like, right now I'm in a huge deficit. I'm like 700-800 calorie deficit per day.
Yeah.
So it's like, I got to have everything really dialed in, you know?
Yeah.
Every meal has to be super lean. I'm getting all my snacks are like high protein snacks. If I'm eating anything, like every snack is a meal, not just a snack, but I'm doing all those things that maybe we could talk about on a future podcast, or maybe that we've talked about in a previous podcast.
Well, I think it'd be fun for us to do a podcast where we recap your deficit.
Fair.
Or even like maybe going forward, we kind of you talk a little bit about your week and your deficit on the podcast when we start off so people can kind of follow along. Either way, I think it'd be good if we just give everyone who's listening just kind of an insight into your process.
What's your perspective? You know how like people are split, nutrition experts, I guess we'll call that, are split on doing the what I eat in a day, you know, kind of posts. Where do you sit on that?
I love what do I eat in a day posts. I'm just someone, I'm not very creative when it comes to food. And so if I can get any ideas from people, I really like what I eat in a day because I get ideas for food. That's point blank the reason why I like them. But I can see where people are like, well, that's harmful because you're flexing your abs and you're showing, well, you can get a body like me if you eat this stuff, which I'll be honest, personally, I've never thought that. I've never seen someone flexing their abs and thought that, but I'm sure there are people that are. And so, I can see that being harmful. But I love them. I don't know what your thought is.
Yeah, no, I think it's like any inherent value that you place on a post is more reflective of you as an individual and not the person who posts it. So like if I, and I get it, like I don't want to send that message. The reason I haven't really done them is because I don't want to send that message of like, oh, if you want to look like me, you have to eat like me, because
Yeah.
eating patterns and like choices are so individualized,
Yeah.
that like you're not just gonna eat like a little bit like a ham sandwich and all of a sudden like look like me. Like that's not how that works, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think, yeah, you know what, I might do them.
I think you
I
should.
I've
I think
thought
you
about
totally
doing them in the
should.
past, but if I did do them, I don't want it to be like this picture perfect day. You know what I mean?
No.
Because a lot of my days, they're like, I kind of bandage together a lot of food options that meet the goals that I have. Like for
Yeah.
example, maybe one day I have like, oh, 3 egg tacos using like an egg life wrap, or like a low
Yeah.
carb tortilla, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a great breakfast. But other days I might just have a protein shake and 2 Rice Krispie treats. It's like
Right.
that's just
Yeah.
my reality. So I've almost
Yeah.
thought about like, if I do it, I'd want to do like 3 days. You know what I mean? Just so like,
I think you should. I think you either could. There was a point where I just did. Here's a screenshot of what I've eaten over the last week, and I do
mm,
like you can only post like 10 slides in
yeah,
an Instagram post. So I would put 9 meals and just show varieties of what I've eaten. I think
yeah,
there's multiple ways you could do it, but I think that'd be very valuable to everyone. I'm sure everyone listening can agree. That'd be super valuable for people to see like what you're eating, especially because you said you're in a deep deficit. Not only did you say you're in a deeper deficit, you also said some mornings you eat 2 Rice Krispie treats and a protein shake. And I'm sure there's some people out there, they're like, wait a second, if
yeah.
he's
Like
in an intense
how?
deficit, how is he eating 2 Rice Krispie treats? And I'm
Right.
sure some of you guys understand it's just about being in a calorie deficit, but I'm sure that'd be very insightful for a lot of people to see.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'll probably do that then. How about, do you like when people show their numbers? You know, like what their calories are eating? Because again, I don't want to say
oh,
like somebody who's
hard.
170 pounds like me should be eating at this calories to lose weight.
I just personally can't find that where the value lies in showing that number. The
Okay.
only way I can is I remember in my journey, like starting out, it was really nice to see like, oh wow, this 5'7", 150-pound female is eating 2,400 calories, or she's at 1,800 calories in a deficit. Because then I'm like, I don't have to go 1,200. So that was helpful. But then, like you said, you're in a deeper deficit. And so I don't want anyone to get that wrong idea that they have to be that low to lose weight. So it's like, it's just hard. I just don't, that is the only benefit I can see by showing your numbers, but maybe you can think of another one. But I think there's more cons to it, in my personal opinion.
I get that.
So
I'm not sure where I sit on it yet. And for the people that are listening, that like Brie and I are almost debating this, it's like this is a hot topic among
yeah,
like
it really
nutritionists
is.
and dietitians to like, should we show what we're eating, or should we like shy away from that because we don't want to give people the wrong impressions of like, oh,
Yeah,
you have to be eating this or you have to be eating that or anything like that. It's
yeah,
more of just like an education of like, sometimes we don't eat air quote perfectly, like
right.
we are humans just like you guys. Sometimes I'm tired after a long day and I get takeout. It's just
Yeah,
I tailor that takeout meal to fit the calories, the protein, the fiber goals that
right.
I'm trying to hit and trying to maximize hunger when I'm in this cut. So
Yeah.
yeah, I probably will talk about it. I probably will honestly just show my calories, my protein. Like this is just what it is.
Yeah. I think it's also a good insight for everyone to hear. Like, this is our thought process when we post things. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like, when we post
fair.
stuff, it's not like we just rip a post. Like, maybe sometimes, yes. But a lot of times we're like, okay, how is this going to benefit someone? How is this going to hurt someone? Like,
Yeah.
how do I balance that? And then you have to remember, like, you can't help everyone. You can't battle everyone's battles in your post. And so, like,
Yep.
I post stuff on tracking, but tracking could be triggering from someone else. But it's like, but tracking was life changing for me. So it's like,
Hmm.
where do I draw that line? It's like, I can't fight everyone's battles in what I do. So it's like, you can see me and Alex really think or really thoughtful through a process to make sure we want to help people. But then ultimately we have to decide, okay, where does the benefit outweigh the con,
Yeah.
or
Is
does it
this
outweigh
net
each other?
good or net bad? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So, but yeah, that was a good little
That was a
chat
little
before
good.
we got into
A
today.
little good
So
thing. Yeah. You want to
yeah.
jump into the Q&A now?
Yep. So we're doing a Q&A this week, and this Q&A is going to be, Alex posted like a Q&A box on his Instagram page, and he said we will answer every single question that comes into this Q&A. So we're going to go through all of them. There's like 20 something
22, I
questions,
think. Yeah.
22.
Yeah.
So we might try to rapid fire some of them. They're like really simple, but we want to make sure we keep this probably under an hour, but we also want to make sure we're answering fully. So this ends up being a really hour and a half long episode. Sorry, but I think it'll probably be worth it for everyone to hear kind of in-depth our answers to stuff. So, but we'll try
Agreed.
to make sure we keep them concise to that's all you need to be hearing and not go on too many tangents. So
Yep. Let's do it.
cool. Awesome. So first one is top items for a home gym for an effective workout. I will let you chat on that one since you have a home gym.
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing that I would get for sure is adjustable dumbbells. They're going to be like $300 to $400 roughly, but you get anywhere from like 5 to 52.5 pounds. Both Bowflex and Nuobel are two brands I'd recommend. There are plenty of brands out there, but Bowflex are ones I've had for over a decade. They go 5 to 52.5. Love them. Nuobel are a little bit more expensive. I haven't personally used them and tested them, but they go from I think 5 to 70 pounds. And they're kind of like a fancier looking version.
Yeah, look, 5 to 80 pounds. I just
5 to
looked it
80
up.
pounds.
Well, these look
Super,
really fancy.
yeah, they look
Yeah.
really nice. Nuobell,
Yep.
Nuobell. Not sponsored, obviously, but would love to be if you guys are listening. Nuobell. Okay, so then adjustable dumbbells, adjustable bench. Honestly, the brand of adjustable bench doesn't really matter in my opinion. I think you could get anything from like $100 to $150, and you're in good shape. If you are a power lifter, then yeah, get like a $300 bench. But otherwise, that's going to be overkill. The benefit to like a really heavy bench is that it doesn't move, it doesn't wiggle as much. So like I
Right.
have a very, very heavy bench, but it's because I bench press heavy loads and can't have any wobble.
Yeah.
So adjustable dumbbells, adjustable bench, that would be like my ground zero.
Did you specify why specifically adjustable dumbbells? I don't know if you said why.
No, I
Like,
didn't
why
say
not
why.
just
Do you want
regular
to?
dumbbells? Why adjustable?
Yeah. Do you want to fill that in, or do you want me to? I don't mind.
Sure. Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm assuming the reason you're recommending that is like, one, it just takes up way less space
Yep.
because if you're having 5 to 80 pound dumbbells, I mean, I don't know how many sets of dumbbells it is, but that's a lot of
So
sets of
many.
dumbbells. So
Yeah.
many that would take up a lot of space. And probably the amount of money that you would spend on each individual set of dumbbells is the same amount you'd spend on Bowflex
More.
dumbbells.
Way more.
Really more? Because the
Way
Nuo
more.
Bell said it's $765. You probably would spend more than that for
More.
5 to 80. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
you'd spend
So
way
it
more.
makes sense to get the adjustable because one, you save space, and then two, you're actually going to be saving money by doing that.
Yeah, and if you think that like, oh, well, I just have like a 5, 8, 10, and 15, it's like if you're serious about lifting, and I'm not saying serious like you want to get like me. I'm saying serious like you plan on lifting consistently for the next 3 months, you will outgrow those 5, 10s, 8s,
Yeah.
12s, whatever you got. You're going to need 20 even if you don't feel strong yet, you will probably need 20s, 30s and beyond for rows, dumbbell rows for your back.
Yeah.
You're going to need it maybe for some pressing, and you're definitely going to need it for your legs. Your legs are
Yeah.
strong. Both men
Yeah.
and women listening to this, your legs are strong. You can handle
Yeah.
a lot. If you can pick up a human child, you can pick up heavier than a 15-pound dumbbell.
Yeah. Very
Seriously.
true. Yeah.
Okay, so next, yeah, adjustable dumbbells, adjustable bench. Those are two I'd recommend. The next thing I'd recommend is a set of bands, or some kind of band thing, especially one with a door anchor. These are
Yeah.
going to be like what, like $20 on Amazon,
You're not
maybe
talking
30
about booty
bucks.
bands. You're talking about the ones that are like you could pull with and like,
Yes, they have like a
yeah.
D handle attached to them.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, these are going to be like 20, 30 bucks on Amazon. They open up the exercise selection quite a bit, especially for rowing and pulling motions and things like
Right.
that. Extensions for curls for arms, stuff like that. All right, next, I would recommend if you have a bigger budget, I'd go with a cable machine. Costco has a cable machine that's like $1,200, $1,300. Other cable machines are going to be like $2K plus. The Costco one, if you're running out of weight, you can get a weight attachment or like more weight plates, or you can get a gym pin, which allows you to put plates over top. So you're good on that. If you have even more money and more space, then I would get a leg extension leg curl. I have one of those. Plate loaded is great. Titan Fitness has one for $700, I believe. If you use that, shoot me a DM. I'll show you how to rig it up. That we can make it. Don't even worry about it. If you get one, shoot me a DM.
Yeah.
I'll send you a video on what to do. And then I guess if you had even more money, the last thing that I would get is a hack squat leg press combo machine. These are just like, Bri used one when she was
Money.
over here, and it's like, it's just nice to have.
Yeah,
It's
it really
just
is.
really
All those
nice.
combo machines are so nice. And all of those two things combo so well together. So
Yeah. Squat wedges, I think, is a small accessory, 50, 60 bucks. That would be really great. Adding a heel elevation allows you to get more knee flexion, which is great for the quads.
yeah.
And then, I glossed over this, but a barbell and a squat rack.
Yeah.
I personally don't program like barbell bench press, barbell back squats, things like that. But barbell Romanian deadlifts, barbell stiff leg deadlifts, pretty nice. But I
Yeah.
honestly think like a barbell and squat rack is falling farther down my priority list.
The fact that you mentioned it last and almost kind of forgot about it, I think just shows like you can have such a great at-home setup with not even a rack, and think about
Yeah.
how much space like a rack will take up too, in addition to
Right.
like the different machines and stuff. But yeah.
I'm a former power lifter, and I just glossed over a barbell. Like,
Yeah.
who am
Yeah.
I?
Yeah.
So
So
I
would you
think.
say, well, go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, what would you say is the absolute bottom basic you would need for an effective workout?
Adjustable dumbbells.
And probably a bench.
We could get
Or even
away
think
with
just
it.
adjustable
Just
dumbbells.
adjustable
Yeah.
dumbbells, but I think like if you can get a bench, it's nicer. I'm thinking
Yeah.
like let's say like something like a row, right? You can support yourself doing a single arm row. You could do chest supported rows. A
Right.
bench press, like your elbows are going to hit the ground if you're on the floor, but your elbows
Right.
get a lot farther. You get a full range of motion on the chest if
Yeah.
you have a bench. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think if you're going to get adjustable dumbbells, get an adjustable bench. Boom. There you
Yeah,
go.
I agree. Yeah, I think the point to make though with all the different variations that we talked about is like if you are only going to invest in dumbbells and a bench, you're just going to have to realize like your selection of exercises is going to be really really narrow, but
Yep.
you can get really strong and build good muscle with those same exercises over and over and over again for years.
Yep.
Just know if you're one of those people that gets bored, you're probably going to get bored pretty quickly, but then you have to balance that like okay, what are my goals versus like being bored. And so it's like the more things you get, the more variety you can have and the more potentially effective some things can be. But yeah, I think at basis for a home gym, an effective workout, you could easily, just like you said, have dumbbells. And I think at least having a bench, because that helps a little bit. Like you said, with the bench press, like you could lay on the floor, but then your arms stop when you hit the floor.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to just have a bench. And I think also,
Pressing
I've
at
seen
different
clients,
angles, like
yeah, you can totally
rows
use
at
a
different
chair. Like you
angles.
need to sit for something, you can use a chair, but then like when it comes to
Sure.
laying down, you're kind of limited on that. So
45 degrees, 30 degrees, like you're going
right.
to want
True.
pressing at those angles.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like a need. It's just like, could be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
All right. Next one.
Next one's a fun one. Oreo flavor you would want to bring into the world.
My audience knows me. Let me just say that. My audience knows me. Yeah. So I saw this one and I was like, dang, I have to think about this, man. And it took me less than a quarter of a second after I said that. And I realized it's not something I would bring into the world. It's something I would bring back into the
Oh,
world.
okay.
It is an Oreo flavor that has already been released and taken away from me. And I'm just furious about it. They came out, I think it was summer of 2015, I think.
I like, you know what year.
They
You're a true connoisseur of the vintages of Oreos.
I could go back into my Amazon history and look up when I bought them.
That's funny.
So I got them from the grocery store. I got them from Meijer, which is a Midwest grocery chain. And they were a chocolate chip Oreo cookie dough, or chocolate chip cookie dough Oreo.
Huh. Okay.
Chocolate cracker and then chocolate chip cookie dough. There were like little tiny chunks of chocolate chips in
Ooh.
like this cookie dough cream.
Yeah.
I'm saying it was an absolute 10 out of 10. I don't believe in 11 out of 10 because that breaks the scale. But if we are going
But
on
was it
that
that
scale,
good that it broke the scale?
literally, yes. It was so
Yeah.
good that I had to like reclassify other Oreos
Because
in
of that.
retrospect because of it.
That's so
Yes.
funny.
It has set the benchmark for what a perfect Oreo can be. And so
Hmm.
it just so far like changed the Oreo perspective and landscape
Yeah.
that nothing has come close. Like in terms of Oreos, nothing has come close.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it was so crazy. I'll keep it brief, but I bought like 2-3 packs. I didn't have much money back then. I was
Yeah.
working minimum wage, and so I bought like 2-3 packs. It's basically all I could afford, and I ate them within like 2 days. And then I bought 3 more on Amazon, which I had to wait for a paycheck. That's how
Yeah.
things were
Yeah.
going. I had to wait for a paycheck of like $80 that I made that week, and I spent like 40 on that on overpriced Oreos because they
Oh
weren't
my
selling them in the
gosh.
stores anymore. So they
Yeah.
all get shipped to my house. I said, all right, I'm gonna eat one. I'm gonna save the next for like next month, and then the third one I'm gonna save for like six
Special
months a
occasions.
year. Well,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
6 months a year. Never open it. Resell it on Amazon. Make all my money back. I ate
Did you
every
do
one of
it?
those bitches in 2 days. All 3 packs were gone
Oh
in
my
48 hours.
gosh. Oh my gosh. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
So
That's so
that's
funny.
that's the one I'd bring back. What about you? Oreo flavor that
I'll be
you
honest, no Oreo flavor has ever beaten the original Oreo flavor.
double
I'm
stuff, regular
such
stuff? What do you think?
double stuffed. I really
Yeah.
like mega stuffed a lot, but it's
Oh
not
no, no, too much
I do love
stuff.
I love the mega stuff, but I think I like double stuffed better.
The ratio of cracker to cream is so much better.
If I could just have a jar of the cream, I would eat it with a spoon. Like I just
Mm,
love the cream so
mm.
much. But there's no flavor that has beaten original. So I just don't know if I can't think of a flavor I'd want to bring because Oreo is just the ultimate flavor to me. So I don't know, but I'm
Very
not quite the
reasonable.
connoisseur like you are. So I don't know,
Yeah, that's
but
fair. Yeah.
yeah. So, okay. Next one is superset ideas. This wasn't very specific. So it wasn't like towards upper or lower. So maybe we just kind of talk a little bit about supersets and how you'd go about picking how to maybe pair them. And so you can get the ideas yourself is kind of how I was thinking of addressing this question.
Yeah, I've got a few different things that I want to touch on here. Okay, so first and foremost, supersets are, in my opinion, right now, of everything I've read and everything, supersets are nothing more than a time saving technique. So they
I
allow
agree.
us to get more, but there's no inherent value of doing them from a physiological perspective of like, oh, this will help my muscle grow
More
faster.
muscle.
They
Right.
are, and in the context of like a vacuum, right? Now, if we're
Right.
looking at like, oh, it allows the person to do more volume because they're very limited on time, then supersets can be great.
Right.
So I'm just going to continue with that thought,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just wanted to add that in there. Now, there are a few supersets that I do like because they are almost like an intensity technique where you can almost like squeeze a little bit more juice out of an orange kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's like you squeeze it with your hand and then you bring in this machine that grinds down to a pulp. And that's kind of how
Yeah.
I see some supersets that I do
Yep.
is like I am programming this in an intensity way to squeeze more out of my muscle. So,
Yep.
one of them that I really love, I don't know if you've ever done it, but it is, I posted about it before. I made a reel about it and it was so
Yeah.
painful. It is uh, leg extension,
To goblet squats.
not to goblet squats,
Okay.
leg extension, which trains the rec femoris in a
Right.
shortened position,
Yeah.
and then sissy squats.
I was about to say you did freaking
You you've
sissy
you've
squats.
seen this video because I remember I think you like
Yes,
commented
I
you're like,
do.
oh my god,
That's
that
probably the most brutal superset I've ever seen
yeah,
someone do because you
yeah,
went from, I mean, destroying your quads to literally, I feel like the sissy squat is the ultimate, like it biases the quad pretty much entirely
entirely,
out of
yes.
any other exercise there is out there. So you just went from hitting your quads really hard to picking an exercise that, one, obviously how it's working in the lengthened position, but then two, I mean, just picking the most isolated quad exercise you could possibly pick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like outside of like a leg extension where you're just like you're locked in place, so all you can do is swing the leg up.
Yeah.
Like sissy squat, you could cheat and use the glutes a little bit if your hips
True.
aren't fully extended.
Right.
Um, but like, oh my god, man, that is brutal. So that's one that I love.
Yeah.
Another one I love is I've been doing sissy squats on the hack squat machine,
Yeah.
and I take that to failure, and then I will do sissy squat eccentrics, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously you're strong in the eccentric, so I control it on the eccentric, then I pull my hips back in and drive up with a regular hack squat, and I keep doing
Yeah.
that until failure. That one
Oh my
sucks.
gosh.
I do a drop set, which is kind of like a superset, except you drop the
Yeah.
weight. It's not a different exercise, but heel elevated dumbbell squats. I grab very heavy dumbbells. You and I did this one together at my gym.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Do as many as you can. I like to get about like 10, 11 ish. I weight them very heavy and I drop the weight and do those body weight to failure. That's technically a drop set, not a superset, but semantics sort of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Other than that, like I think general principles of supersets for time saving techniques that won't interfere with other muscle growth, at least not to a huge degree, would be any antagonist muscles. So I'm thinking
Right.
biceps, triceps, quads, hamstrings, chest, back, like things that
Right.
aren't going to interfere with each other. What I wouldn't do is something like a bench press into a skull crusher, because the bench press, you're already extending your arm. You're already using the tricep. If you were to go into a tricep, skull crusher, like a tricep exercise, it's like, you're probably losing out on gains. The other thing that I
Right.
consider is like, if you are looking to absolutely optimally grow muscle and time is not, a concern, I would get rid of any supersets. They
Yeah.
are probably going to be inferior from strictly a muscle growth perspective.
Yeah. I agree.
As long
Yeah.
as time is, again, if time is an issue, then supersets are going to be great. But if time is
Yeah.
not an issue, don't do them.
Yeah. I think like just like you said, you have to first consider what your purpose is behind the superset. Are you trying to save time? Are you trying to squeeze the orange a little bit more? Um, Another way I've used supersets before too is like if I have a cable machine, I will do, I'll do antagonistic. Is that the right term?
Yeah, like
Antagonist.
opposing.
Yeah, opposing. There we go. That's a better word. I'll
Yeah,
do opposing.
antagonistic muscles. The
I don't know if that
right
was a
term there.
word. I knew
Yeah, yeah,
antagonist, but okay. I'll do opposing muscles where I'll do, tricep or cross cable tricep extensions, and I'll go to a facing away cable curl
yeah. Yep.
because I already have this machine and it's like I want to hit the biceps this way. And it's like I don't want to lose the machine. So, and I
Yeah.
don't want to be taking the machine from someone for a really long time. So, again, I guess it's like I said, a time saver. And so I'll do that too for supersetting exercise as well versus having a straight set of extensions and a straight set of bicep curls where I'll be taking the only cable machine from someone from the gym for a longer time. So
Yeah.
I think you have to first think about what your purpose is behind the supersets. And then from there, that's kind of how you create your ideas. I know in this question, she's wanting us to give it her ideas. And I think you gave her some.
Key. But yeah.
So yeah, sorry, she, he, I'm not sure who it is on the
You don't know who
question.
it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I get
sorry.
you.
Um, so you think about your purpose, and I think most people are doing supersets probably for a time saver. Like I
Time.
think more so coaches that think about like let's squeeze it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, if you're going to do it for time saving, I would advise, I think like you advise to do opposing muscles if
Yep.
you're
For
going to be pairing them together.
Yeah.
So
And I also want to say that like I would not feel like you have to do what I do. I want to be really clear on that. Like this squeezing of the orange that I'm doing, like I think even Bri can attest that like I train differently. And like this
yeah,
isn't like I mean, yes, I do sort of wear that as a badge of honor.
yeah,
But I train with an intensity that like most people do not need to touch for
yeah,
years and years and years and years. It's like I've gotten to a point where and also when I'm training to such a high intensity, it's because my training volume is very low. And so
yeah,
like I'm not doing 4 sets of this like leg extension sissy squat. I'm doing 2 tops. And that might be the
right,
only leg thing or like the only quad thing I do that day. So
yeah,
like if you're doing split squats, hack squats, leg press, leg extension, don't throw this superset on top of that and be like, oh
yeah,
yeah, I'm just going to torch my quads. Your muscles can only adapt from so much. They can only recover from so much. Doing more is almost always not the answer. It's doing
yeah,
it better, it's doing it more efficiently, but it's
yeah,
not just like more, 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 more. More is
yeah.
not always better.
Yeah, but I like that you pointed out that you train that intensely where you're going from a leg, the hack squat to sissy squats, because right now in your training volume, it's lower. So then you're kicking up the intensity and
Yeah.
doing things that would literally probably bring other people to tears when they're performing them,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
want to increase the intensity that much.
The last time I did that superset, I did cry.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It was like
Yeah.
so painful that I was
I would
writhing
too.
around on the ground like a burning worm in the sun.
Yeah.
It
I
was
think
brutal.
maybe the last thing I could think of like a superset. I know we're talking about ideas, but this is just thought is like, I don't know. There's sometimes where and we're doing it in my group training for this meso is after we do leg extensions, we just do one set at the very end of like a goblet squat. And you can do this body weight, honestly, just body weight squats till absolute failure.
Yeah.
And that's just fun because like the amount of blood that just pools in your
Yes. You get
quads
that
is
pump.
so
Yeah.
satisfying. And
Oh
it's like,
God, yeah.
truly honestly, like there's not a huge benefit to I mean, I guess you could argue a little bit, but there's not a huge benefit
Theoretically,
to us
there
doing.
might be.
Yeah,
Theoretically, you might be
I think you could
you might
argue.
be genius programming. Like theoretically,
Yeah.
you could be 5 years ahead of the curve right now.
Yeah. Well, no, I think you could argue that, like, okay, I'm having everyone push to absolute failure. And so
Yeah.
there's benefits to that for muscle
Yes.
building, but also it's one set at the very, very end. Most of that benefit is going to come from, like, oh, this feels so good to have the blood
Right.
pool in my quads.
Psychologically, it might be
And
more
I
psychological than
psychologically beneficial. Yeah, but it's also just fun. So I think sometimes you can superset some things. And we even talk about the definition of a superset. A superset is basically
oh
where you
right.
just pair two exercises back to back. And there's multiple ways you can do that. Like we said, you can do opposing muscles. You can do non-opposing muscles. What's the term for that? The
Agonist.
term, yeah, whatever, non-opposing ones. And then you can just make it fun. You know what I mean? And just like torture yourself at the very, very end. So
Yeah.
cool. Next one, another fun question. If you could have a celeb client, who would you want to have?
I think for me, I'm gonna say Ryan Reynolds.
Why?
I just think that like me and him would mesh really well. You know, like
Yeah.
if you see him in like Deadpool, like I like his dry humor a lot. Not just in
Yeah.
Deadpool. You know, I've watched just other things that he's done. I like the
Yeah.
way he carries himself. I like the way he treats people from, I've never met him, but like from an
Yeah.
outside perspective, I like the way he has his hands in different businesses.
Yeah.
So it would be as much about like, and I think that he wouldn't be somebody who's like really whiny and complaining about it. Like he would show up, get the work done. It'd be a fun client, and I'd be looking to learn a lot from him.
Yeah.
So that would be like somebody that not only that I would love to train like professionally, but that I would love to just like meet and pick their
Be
brain for
around.
an hour. Yeah, I would.
Interesting.
I like surrounding myself with people that I view that are better than me, and he's. I hate to say somebody's
Well,
better than me or
I
worse than
just,
me.
I'm better than
that's
you,
yeah. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
But I do like being around people that push me, and like you are one of those people that push me, and so similar people that are great and trying to be even greater, it's like that
Yeah.
inspires me, and it pushes me to be like I gotta just keep pushing, be bigger, be better, be smarter,
I
learn
love that.
more. Yeah.
I love that.
What
Yeah, I
about
think for
you?
my answer, this was hard because I'm really not sure, to be honest. But I mean, my initial thought was, and hear me out, the reason I'm saying this person would
Okay.
be like Kim or Khloe Kardashian. And the
Sure.
reason why is because I want to take someone that's super, super body influential, get
Mm,
them to be strong, and create a different narrative around like what is acceptable in society for a female body. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so, like, I don't really know how that is. I don't know if they would actually be the best people to do that. But I'm just like, I want someone who's just really influential in maybe, and maybe not. I was going to say influential in just kind of like the body image space, and
Yeah.
have them. And again, this would be, and that with the understanding that they would even want to build muscle like that and train. But it's like, if I could have it my way and train someone, or have a celeb client, it would probably be someone that's very influential in creating all these waves of body image stuff, because it's like, if I could have that impact on them, then they could impact the masses. And I think that would just be my ultimate dream if I have a celeb client. So
Does I mean, I kind of have a celeb client right now. Can I name drop?
yeah, of course you
Her
can.
name is Danielle McClellan. She's
Oh,
Danielle the dietitian
yeah,
on
she is a
Instagram.
celeb.
She's got 500,000 followers, and yeah, I'm her trainer. So it's a pretty big deal. I guess like if I could redo
Yeah,
this
so
question, it would be Danielle.
yeah, there you go. Alex
Shout
already
out
has
Danielle.
a celeb client at this point. So
No, I think
she's
your
a
answer is really
great
cool.
client.
She is. She's a great client, and like
Yeah,
she does a lot for body positivity and things like that, and
she
like
does.
encouraging
She's
women to
actually
be
a
strong.
really great point that she
Yeah.
is, with her own journey, really creating a different
Yes.
narrative for being
And
strong
she's
as a
going through a
female.
bulk. Like she's gone
Yeah,
through a bulk. She's gone, and it's like it's so cool to see that. And she's always
yeah,
so like, moms, women, we should be getting strong. We should, and
yeah,
I really like that perspective from her.
yeah. I do too.
Um, the Kardashians. Have you seen their training footage?
I've watched every single episode of the Kardashians ever. I love the Kardashians.
Okay, so I haven't seen any episodes or anything like that. I've just seen
Yeah.
clips of them training, and
Oh,
they
it's
let me just say
painful.
they could use you. They could
Yeah,
really
yeah.
they
It's
could
it's
use your help.
it's painful, and then I mean, they actually used to get trained by gosh, what was her name? Her name's Mel. I think it's Get Fit Mel is her handle, and she is like bodybuilder esque. Like, she is a badass. She is
Mm,
so cool, and she's very much has the aesthetic and mindset that you and I do. And
hmm.
she used to train the Kardashians. She doesn't anymore, and that's how she actually her platform grew, is because she was
Yeah.
their
Oh
trainers.
yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, like, kind of to my point of like, I would have to change the mindsets of them, and they would have to desire that physique, and they probably just don't.
That's a whole journey that you have to go on.
That's just a
Like
whole journey of itself.
another one that I thought of that I can't believe, because this was a dream of mine for so many years, is I wanted to train UFC fighters. Like,
Really?
yeah, like,
That's cool.
yeah, I did jujitsu for a year, and I really wanted to do MMA, much to my
Yeah.
parents' dismay. And like, so I was like at an MMA gym. I was doing jujitsu classes there, and like I was
Yeah.
kind of like flirting with the idea, like who do I talk to about signing up, and kind
Yeah.
of this stuff. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
In retrospect, like no disrespect to anybody who is pursuing that. It's just I'm
Path.
happy to be using my brain, and not getting punched in the head. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
that's not that
Yeah.
polarizing of a topic. It's like, yeah, you
No.
don't really want to get punched in the head
Yeah.
repeatedly.
Yeah.
Um, so, but like training one of that, like I haven't missed a UFC fight card in like 10 years. Like I watch
Wow.
every single one. And so like training a UFC fighter, that would be like a dream come true for me, for sure.
Yeah. Who would you want to? Okay, this is kind of with the question. If you could train with a celeb, who would you want to train with? Like, you said train Ryan Reynolds, and
Yeah.
maybe you want to work out with him, but like, is there, and it probably would maybe be the same, but is there anyone that you're like, man, I just love to work out with this person?
Hmm.
Your answer was kind of along those lines. You wanted to be around someone and talk to them and all that. So maybe the same answer for you.
Yeah, it is still Ryan Reynolds. Like, I still want to
Okay.
train with that person, but
Yeah.
I think like actually Jeff Nippard, and that's somebody who's like
Yeah.
potentially realistic for me in the next like three to
Yeah.
five years. Depending on like what my trajectory is, depending on what I do, I could potentially hit a workout with him, and so maybe
Yeah.
someday I'll be showing this to Jeff. So if I am, what up, Jeff? I guess I called it
Yeah.
right back in 2023.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he was somebody who was really influential for me. Like, I followed his programs when I first got started, like
Yeah.
five,
For
six.
those who don't know, he's just like huge in like, I guess you could say bodybuilding-esque powerlifting world. Very
Yeah.
science-based,
Yep.
evidence-based approach guy. That's
Big
huge
on
in the States.
YouTube, like
Yeah.
very science forward. I said like 5 years ago. Turns out it was like 10, 11, 12 years ago that I was following his programs.
Yeah.
Where
Isn't
was
that
the time
wild?
gone? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that would be really cool to get a workout in with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's somebody I look up to for sure, and I'm really like thankful to him. He doesn't know who I am, he doesn't know my name, but
Yeah.
really thankful to him for like helping steer me down this road.
Yeah. Totally. Nice.
All right,
I
let's
think
wrap
if
that one up.
I think if I well, I want to say mine,
Oh yeah,
which
go
I
for
feel
yours.
cheesy saying this one, but I really want to train with The Rock and go to the Iron
You know
Paradise
what's funny is I was actually going to say anybody but The Rock. I'm serious. Like, that
because
came to
he
my
does.
mind.
Because his training's horrible.
Well,
Is that
like
what
it'd
you're gonna
be
say?
yeah, like I don't even
I'll be
mind
honest. I
doing
watched
like
him at his training and I cringe. To be
yeah,
honest, I
right.
think he does a lot of junk volume and like.
I guess my issue with The Rock is that he is so vehemently saying that like he's never taken steroids
Yeah, I know.
when that is such a farce. Like,
I know.
what a
I know.
joke. And so
I
you're
know.
like deluding all these teenagers, and like
I know.
that
I
just
still just
really
want to go to the Iron Paradise. It just would be like so. I don't know.
it would
I
be
don't know.
cool. It would be
It would just be
cool.
kind of cool. So
Yeah. I just
and
don't
just go
like that
through a
he
crazy
doesn't admit that
workout.
he's on steroids,
I agree. I agree with that.
Look at him.
I
He's
know.
so on steroids.
I know.
Like, I know I shouldn't be saying these things unsubstantiated, and I'm really sorry, but like I never
I
want
also
to
don't
accuse
like how he
somebody of
does
taking
the.
steroids, but
Yeah,
like
I also don't like that he has the cheat days. Like every Sunday, he does his cheat day
yeah,
meals, and like I'm
agreed.
just not a fan of
It's
doing
kind
cheat
of
days. Like
dichotomizing food
there
and
are problems I have with The Rock for sure in his
yeah,
philosophy behind things, but it's just
yep.
like at the end of the day, I'm like, man, like just train with him and go to the Iron Paradise and like just go through a grueling workout with him would just be like fun. And he seems like a really nice
He
guy
seems like a
from
nice guy. This is not
what
a
I
the
see.
Rock hate
So yeah.
podcast.
And
We
then
are
like
not
Sage,
hating.
I mean, that was Sage's like ultimate, like first probably person he ever saw, like those really
Look
buff.
up
And so
to,
I
and
mean,
yeah,
yeah, so Sage loves The Rock too.
that's
So,
cool. That's
but yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll wrap up there and we'll go to the next one. Next question is, can you increase your
Oh,
maintenance calories and how?
we just
Interesting. I
talked about
talked about
this.
that at the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess I'll go with this one. So the only way that you can increase your maintenance calories is by weighing more or moving more. So if you
Or eating more protein. It'll be marginal.
yes, but it's gonna be yeah, but it's gonna be very marginal. Okay,
It'll
sure,
be
I'll go for that
marginal,
too.
but
I'll go
sure.
for that. So let's talk about the first thing is like your metabolism or how many calories you burn in a day is determined first off and first most. I don't think that's how you say that. Whatever.
Nope, you
First of
got it.
all,
Yep.
okay. One more time talking this morning. Is how your height, your weight, how big you are as a person. And so
Yeah.
if you want to eat more calories, you have to get bigger. And so you can't increase your height. Like you're not going to grow anymore. So the only way to physically make your body bigger is to gain weight. And you can do that through muscle. You can do that through body fat. If you want to do it right here and right now, like as soon as possible, you're going to gain fat faster than you're going to gain muscle. And so if you wanted to increase your metabolism, you just simply have to weigh more. If you don't want to weigh more per se, the other way would be is that you just have to move more. So go get more steps. You could go and do formal cardio. Just getting any type of movement throughout your day more is actually probably going to be the biggest mover. It'd probably be better if you increased your step and overall activity throughout the day versus having a dedicated 30-minute spin cycle. And I mean, you
Agreed.
could do that and that would increase how many calories you'd need, but you probably make a
Sort of.
bigger do what?
I just want to add a limiter here of like sort of. There is going to be a compensatory effect to
Yes.
the higher intensity cardio that you do. There's going to be potentially a higher degree of compensation. And so like let's say you go for like a 2 mile run, but you are going balls to the wall hard on it.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the day,
You may be a couch potato.
You might be a couch potato because of that. And so like steps are a very low intensity, like walking, I should say specifically, is a very low intensity. And so because of that, there might be less of a compensatory effect in terms of your energy expenditure.
Agree.
Just wanted to add that in.
Yeah, 100% agree. Alex is completely right. So you could go and be like, well, I don't want to add more steps. I just want to do an hour of cardio every single day. It's like, that's cool. But then are you a couch potato for the rest of the day? And so it actually just evens out. And so, like I was saying, the better use of your time is figuring out, how can I move more? How can I get more steps? Should I get up, every hour while I'm sitting at my desk and just walk around the office for 2 minutes or something and moving it? So that's really it, unless you have anything else to add, is how can you increase your maintenance calories? Or can you? Yes. And how? Move more or weigh more? Those are your two options.
Or increase protein. I mean, the difference of going from like 60 grams of protein to like 140 grams of protein could be pretty significant. Any food that we eat, whether it's carbs, fats, proteins, they all have a different thermic effect, meaning they take more or less energy to digest, process, and utilize in the body. Protein has the highest thermic effect, roughly like 20-30%, whereas carbs and fats are like 5-10%.
Yeah.
And so it's like, will this add up in a very massive way? But like it'll help, and it's also not going to be a bad thing to get in like a little bit more protein if you're currently under eating.
If you wanted to squeeze out all your options, could definitely go for more protein. But if you're already hitting that protein, or you don't care to increase your protein, then I would go with the weigh more, move more route.
It's one of the things that I'm doing, like to squeeze a little bit more, out of this deficit, is like I've increased my protein from like 140, 150 grams to like 200 to 240 ish per day.
Yeah.
It's a lot of protein.
But that's also with behind you have everything else in check too.
I have everything else so lasered in that's like one that I wouldn't worry about for a lot of people.
Yeah. Alex is like going to the nth degree and like squeezing everything he can. So like if you're not doing all the other things, then don't worry about this yet.
Hit 8,000. If you're at 2,000 steps, going to 8,000 will be life-changing.
Substantially more.
Literally life-changing.
Compared to increasing your protein by 50 grams. You would much be better.
Dependent. I mean, if you're at like 10 grams, increasing it by 50 would be life-changing.
Yeah.
If you're at 50, increasing it to 100, probably actually not even probably.
Well, we could talk about like you being more satiated and satisfied. I mean, there's so many things, but it's like, I think for me personally, for the sake of this question, weigh more, move more. And then once you do that, then we can squeeze out some other things. And if you're already doing those things, increase those things more, and then you could dial in with more protein. But for me, I'm not a big protein person in general. I literally hit my number and I move on. I probably wouldn't really want to increase protein. For me personally.
I get it. I wouldn't want to eat like 225, 230 grams of protein every day personally. It's only because I'm in a really aggressive cut that I'm doing that. But like, dude, bowls and bowls and bowls of cottage cheese sometimes. It's just like, fuck, dude.
Yeah, totally.
It's like 11 p.m. I'm eating another bowl of cottage cheese.
Yeah. My gosh. Okay, next one is, do you recommend physical therapy?
Yes.
I think it depends for what, but
I mean, does it? I don't know. Like,
I think it does. I think if you don't need it, then you don't need to go to physical therapy.
Yeah.
Like fair. I think if you're just your average Joe Blow and you're just like working out and you're healthy and whatever, like, do you need a weekly physical therapy session? No. But if you have like injuries and issues, absolutely. I think physical therapists over a chiropractor, in my personal opinion.
I was gonna touch on that actually. I was gonna say, hot take, stop seeing your chiropractor.
Yeah, I would very much rather you go see a physical therapist than a chiropractor.
Yes, because cracky backy doesn't really do anything outside of a. Okay, let's say Bri's toe hurt or something. Let's say her spine hurt. You know what I could do? I could take a hammer and smash her finger, and now her back is not hurting so bad anymore. And so what we're doing is like, exactly. It's like it's an acute effect. It's what is it? Short-term analgesic, I think, is what the
maybe. I'm not good with big words, so
it's fine. Dr. Aaron Kubal is somebody I would be looking at for if you're like, oh wait, no, but chiropractic helps me so much. And like, that's totally great. That's totally great. Dr. Aaron Kubal is a chiropractor that recommends not going to a chiropractor. I would look at his stuff. He backs up every single claim with a mountain of evidence. Yeah. I don't know. My brother-in-law is a chiropractor. And so like, I don't want to get into all that, but I wouldn't recommend a chiropractor.
Well, and what I also like about physical therapy, or if you're looking at physical therapists, find one that has some type of like, I want to say gym attached, but like equipment, because when I've worked with a physical therapist in the past, what's nice is like, hey, I'm having pain when I'm doing this movement. they try to relieve the pain or figure out what's going on. And then they have me do that movement to see if it's now gone, which
And they'll try
I
to
don't
strengthen it back up, which is
exactly. I don't
huge.
ever see, and I could be wrong. There might be some chiros out there that do know to do that, but I've never seen a chiro really do that. And physical therapists are really working on fixing the problem, where I find, and again, if anyone's a chiro listening to this, I'm not trying to, shit talk you or whatever, but it seems like it's more of a short term. You have to come every single week, get your back cracked because I have to put you back into alignment going on.
There's no alignment. People just
Yeah.
have different shaped spines. Let me
Yeah.
just say that, like, if a chiropractor who weighs somewhere in the neighborhood of 130 to 250 pounds, let's just say that's a wide range.
Yeah.
That's how much they weigh. If they can move your spine with their hands,
Yeah.
let me just say this, that every NFL lineman, linebacker, every person who's ever played in the NFL would die on first impact. If somebody who is able to just put a little pressure on your spine and twist your spine and air quote put it back in alignment, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. They're not realigning your spine.
Yeah.
There's gases inside of your joints that when you move them, it's like the same thing. I could probably do it right there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another. Oh.
Should we all just pop our...
Yeah, if you could hear that, that was me popping my thumbs and my wrists and stuff like that.
I could hear it.
Yeah. So it's like these things aren't helping you in the long run. They might feel good. It's like, oh yeah, you little release and stuff like that, but they're not realigning your joints anyways. I don't really want to get on that tangent.
No, you're fine. And I mean, my point to that is like, if that was the case, like, why are we not fixing that problem in the first place? Like, I agree. We're not realigning anything, but it's like, that's just not the approach they take. Even if it was an alignment, let's just say, let's toots and giggles, that was, why are we not solving the source of it? Why are we just popping it back in place and then not figuring out where the source that's coming from when it's not? So I'm very much pro physical therapy. Do we recommend one? Yes. If you're having issues, go.
Yep.
And I mean, if you're in the States, you gotta, see if it's covered under your insurance and all that stuff. And
it's a whole mess.
If you can, though, what's again nice about physical therapy is there's an end goal to the date. And so it's like, I think that's what's really nice about physical therapy versus chiro is chiro, it seems like you are just going in every week for infinity and beyond. You have to figure out a way to afford it. Physical therapy, there's typically an end in sight. So if it isn't covered by your insurance, trying to save up some money, figuring out a way to be like, okay, let me ask long-term how long they think this will take, and then can try and make that work out of pocket. So
I'm also, I think that there was a study that looked at like the maintenance care of a chiropractor. Like, is it needed? And the study came to the consensus of no. Unfortunately, I can't just like summon this, but Dr. Aaron Kubal, that'd be somebody I'd look at if you're curious. Anyway, on to the next.
We probably need to speed things up.
We need to speed things up. Yeah, we need to speed things up.
Maybe. Yeah, because we talked a little bit before we got on the podcast, so the time that we're looking at may not be accurate. But anyways, we'll go on to the next one. Yes, get a physical therapist if you need it. Next one. Okay, it was typed a little funny, so I think I'm going to paraphrase it, but basically it says, does creatine lose its effectiveness the longer it sits once you've made it, that you're not drinking it right away? So my understanding of this question is that if you put creatine in like your water and you let it sit for 24 hours, does it lose its effectiveness as it sits in the water? My answer would be no.
I don't think so.
I don't think so at all. I don't have any like studies to back that up, but I don't see any reason why it would lose its effectiveness if it's dissolved in water and sitting there.
I do not think so. No.
Yeah.
And as far as like shelf life, like I think they have expirations on there, but I don't know if that. I don't know.
No, I would. I think I'd bet my left arm that it doesn't. So yeah. I think you're fine. So next one. When do you know you need to go from maintenance to a cut?
Maintenance to a cut. Interesting. I guess when you're just looking in the mirror and you just feel like it's time, or either that and you're like, I want to be a little bit leaner. Maybe if you're just tired of eating. Yeah, maybe you have some negative health effects. Maybe, that being a lower body fat percentage could help.
Yeah.
Or I should say not lower, but getting into a healthier body fat percentage. That's probably a better way to word it.
Yeah. Because if you're at maintenance at an unhealthy body fat percentage, going to a cut could help that.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
And then maybe if you're just sick of eating the amount that you're eating and you want to lose a little bit so that you don't have to eat so much every day. Like, again, if you have more mass, you're going to have to eat more. And so somebody like Eddie Hall, who's 300 plus pounds, he gets down to like 225. He gets to eat a lot less calories, or he has to eat a lot less calories and a lot less food. And sometimes eating a lot of food every day, I have to eat 3,000 calories every day to maintain my weight. It's a lot of food.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of food,
My also thought is like, if you're having to ask yourself if you need to go into a cut, you probably don't. Like, unless you've gotten your, blood work done from your doctor and everything looks good health wise. If you're having to like debate, should I go into a cut? You probably don't. It sounds like you're pretty satisfied maybe with where you're at. Maybe you're thinking, should I? Because maybe I want to look a certain way. But it sounds like if you're having to ask the question, you probably just stay at maintenance. So it's really a personal preference thing other than health.
Yeah,
So.
and I also do want to say that like it is totally okay to pursue fitness and all this for strictly aesthetic goals.
Yeah, very true.
That has been so like almost vilified lately that it's like, oh, fitness and nutrition, this should be just for health and like aesthetics, that's not what we're doing this for. It's like, if you want to look better naked, you go on.
Yeah.
You go on. Who cares?
Yeah.
You go on. You go lose some weight. You go lose a little bit of body fat. You go lift some weights. You go build up your glutes or your shoulders or whatever the hell you want to do just because you want to look better. I am in 100% support of that. Nobody gets to decide why you are pursuing a goal. Nobody. If it is for your own, just so you look sexier in the mirror or something like that, great. If it is for vengeance, great. I do not care what the purpose is. I do not care. That is your prerogative. That is your decision.
Yeah. Obviously you want to keep that in the healthy range of reasons, you know what I mean?
Sure,
but
sure.
yeah. I'm just going to throw that in there just to make sure we're covering bases. But
throw a disclaimer.
Yeah, no, but I agree with you. Like it's, other than health reasons, everything else is personal. It's you get to decide if you want to lose body fat for whatever
the only reason I'm still lifting, I'm at a healthy amount of muscle. I'm at a healthy body fat percentage. The only reason I am still lifting is because I want to get bigger because I think it's cool.
Aesthetically, that's it. Yeah, aesthetically it looks cool. Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
Agreed. Yeah.
Cool. I love this next question.
How would you stay motivated when your spouse/partner isn't? Go for it.
I just think this is a really, really, I don't have like a really strong answer.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a really good question. It's tough, especially when you don't have the support of somebody that's like living inside your house, especially with like nutrition, where like making 2 separate meals is very difficult. So what I would encourage the person that you're living with is maybe just like some low level education on the importance of protein, or low level education on the importance of fiber, or maybe it's just like a sit down conversation like, hey dude, I love you and I want you to live for a long time. And it feels like I've been like consuming this content, or I've been like kind of learning about this stuff. And I think you should be moving more each day, or I think you should get your weight under control, your eating patterns under control. So maybe it's a tough conversation that you got to have.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just realizing that like their path is very separate than yours. And it's okay. That is okay. Like totally. I want to be as jacked as possible. Maddie could not give 2 shits about that. She is lifting because she knows it's healthy for her.
Yeah.
So she like comes and, I write her a rough program kind of thing that she follows 3 days a week and works out for 20, 30 minutes at a time. And like, that's fine. But I'm trying to get as jacked as humanly possible without taking steroids. Yeah. And so it's like, for me, it's just like, we're on 2 totally different wavelengths, but I've always been the competitive type. That's like, I need to do everything to the best of my ability. Yeah. Maybe it's a tough conversation. Maybe it's just like realizing that, they're not going to follow you on this one.
I think my thought process is like, one, you're using the word motivated. Like, how would you stay motivated? So you're saying, how would you stay feeling like doing what you need to do when your spouse and partner doesn't feel like doing what you need to do? I think right away you need to take out, the motivation over discipline, as cheesy as that sounds, is like, you're not going to always feel like doing the steps that you need to do to get to the goals that you have. And especially your partner doesn't have the same goals as you. Of course, they're not going to feel motivated to do it because they don't have those same goals. Now, let's assume both of you guys have the same goals and that your spouse is, not good at helping to push you and you're really the one that's pulling it. It's really finding that balance between, okay, you know what? We really need to go to the gym today. I don't want to go to the gym. My spouse doesn't really want to go to the gym, but I know I need to go for my health. And so I'm going to pull us to the gym and have that discipline to go. Or I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to the gym right now. If you want to come with me, you can, but I'm not going to have my goals be dependent on how you're feeling. And so I think it's really trying to figure out, one, getting that motivation word kind of out of your vocabulary. I mean, it's nice to feel like doing something, but you just have to realize if you only went to work whenever you felt like it, you wouldn't have a job right now. You know what I mean? If you only, picked up your kids from school when you felt like it, you would probably have child protective services. Yeah, knocking on your door. Like, there's a lot of things in life that you don't feel like doing every single day. I don't feel like taking Chloe out to go to the potty every single time she goes to potty because it's 102 degrees outside. But she would pee all over the apartment and she'd have a urinary tract infection. Like there's a lot of things I do because I'm not motivated to do it. And so I think it's hard when your spouse isn't. I will put that there. Like it is difficult, but like I think you need to find like this is your personal journey and you need to enact discipline for yourself. And if your spouse is along with you, that's awesome. But you can't make them want what you want. And again, if your goals are separate, they're not going to be motivated for your goals specifically because they're your goals.
Yeah.
I think
And
the other part to this,
go ahead.
sorry. Do you want to add to that real quick? Okay. The other part I was thinking about, there's a difference between your spouse isn't motivated and being supportive. You can have a very, very supportive spouse, even though they're not motivated as well. So I think that's also having a tough conversation with, again, I don't know if you and your spouse are both trying to build muscle or both trying to lose weight. So I think this depends, but it's like, if your spouse isn't trying to do the things that you're doing, saying, hey, I really just need your support. And so if you could, watch the kids every Saturday morning, like if you can get up at 7 when I get up and then watch the kids so I can go to the gym, that would mean so much that I have your support in this. So I think if you don't have a spouse that either wants the same goals as you or is motivated like you, at least knowing that you have their support, I think is huge. Yep. And then if they can give that support in ways that you're asking for it, I think is huge. So that was kind of my take on it. I think it's hard to answer when I don't know if your spouse and partner's goals are aligned with yours, because I think that's different if you both are trying to pursue the same thing, but one's kind of pulling you back while you're trying to push forward. And I think if that is the case, is the situation, just have an honest talk with your spouse saying, hey, look, you're really a Debbie Downer every single day to do this, honestly, and be like, it doesn't feel supportive. Like if it's really pulling me back. So I think we need to go at this maybe a little bit separately. I'm going to focus on, getting to the gym 4 times a week, and maybe we need to figure out our schedules on that. Or, hey, can you get on board with me? And, even though you don't feel like it, let's just both commit. Hey, we're going to the gym at 6 a.m. every single day, whether they feel like it or not. It's just having those communication is the biggest thing you can do in marriage and dating and all that. So.
Yeah. I would always ask them like maybe if they're not feeling motivated, maybe your drive for this is like so high and theirs just isn't as high. So set attainable goals for them. I mean, literally treat them like you're a coach and they're your client. It's like, where do we got to meet them in order to make this feel realistic? And maybe it's as simple as just like, hey, could you just have a protein shake once a day? Like literally it could be that simple. Or like, hey, could you go for a walk with me? Like, I feel like a walk is so attainable for anybody. It's like, it's a great way for you to catch up and like talk about your day. So just go for a walk.
Yes, Sage and I love going on walks together. It's so nice to have that quality time together.
Maddie and I talk about our finances every single time. We're like looking at like our investments and like
really?
I'm reading them off. It's like that was like our morning thing for a while.
Together.
Nice.
We'll just like watch and we'll like Zillow and be like, they should really redo that. They should redo that. Like we have any say in that kind of stuff, but we love looking at houses when we walk. So
I handle most of the finances, like investing and stuff like that for our household, and so I'm like filling in Maddie with like almost like the daily report.
I love that.
Here's how the stocks
team meeting.
Yeah, team E meeting.
Yeah.
Team E.
Team meeting. Yeah.
If you don't know, my last name is pronounced Teamy, so we make a lot of plays on that.
Yeah.
All right, next, how does Alex and Bri's workout programs you can subscribe to differ? So she's talking about our group training programs. What is yours? The Damn Strong Club, or did you name it that yet? Or?
No, I didn't. It's just BRF training program. There's no specific name to it, but it's just Brianna Ray Fitness training program. So
pretty much all my stuff is like the A team, because Alex team me. So the A team. How do they differ? I mean, both of ours, we have very similar. We follow the same strength and muscle growth principles. That's very important to note. Is like Bri and I we understand the same principles. We know the same knowledge, for the most part. How would you say they're different?
I'll be honest. I don't think they're super different. If I'm going to be
really
honest, I just don't. I think
don't either.
You talked a minute ago how you don't really do barbell squatting stuff. I like doing squats. And so I do the work. So that's maybe one different. I do the workouts that I prescribe. Obviously, Alex has talked about how he has a lower training volume with his schedule, with his life right now. And so he doesn't do the program. Doesn't mean he wouldn't do it. He absolutely, he's programming his group program how he would schedule. He would program anyone that has these goals. And I'm doing the same. And so I do mine specifically, but I think for the most part, we follow the exact same training principles. There is probably nothing really different. So if you like Alex more, do Alex's. If you like me more, do mine.
Or try to we both have 7-day free trials. Subscribe to one, subscribe to the other, try them both out, see which one you like more, and there you go.
We'll say that's one thing that's probably different that we can talk about now. This podcast will come out when my enrollment is closed, but Alex is always open to enroll whenever you want. Mine closes. So go ahead and try Alex's first, see how you like it. And then when mine opens for enrollment again, which will be, let's see, by the time this podcast, the 31st of July, it'll be open for enrollment again. Then you can hop in mine for a week, see if you like it better, and then kind of make your decision from there. So
yeah, and hopefully by the end of this year, Bri and I will be combining both of these things.
yeah, our ultimate goal is to combine for sure, but we just don't have our goal is at least by the end of this year, if not beginning of next, but just, join
We're
either
building
one
our own
and
app, and I'm sure you guys have heard about it. We're building our own app, and so it's going to have every single thing that it currently has, and
yeah,
I mean so much more, and the
yeah,
price will be very, 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 very competitive with what both of our prices are right now.
yeah,
So we're just really excited about it. Just want to plug that in there, that like eventually it'll all be under the same house, me and
yep,
Bri's stuff.
yep, exactly. So at the end of the day, just pick them, try them, and see which one you like.
Yep.
So next one's favorite pre-workout snack, like if you're eating it 5 minutes before you lift. I feel like we
Protein
might have
shake
the
and
same
2 Rice
answer.
Krispie treats and a teaspoon of salt.
Okay, I like just grabbing like 2 Oreos or 3 Oreos and just eating them.
Yeah.
Anything
The
just like
rice.
really high carby,
Yep.
just
Yeah.
crushing it.
Yep.
I probably wouldn't do, for me personally, I don't know if I do a protein shake just because I think I'd feel too full for me
Yep.
personally.
Yep.
I very much just like eat something just either if I'm a little bit hungry just to get that gone, and then I'll have my protein shake after. So
Yeah. And I do the Fairlife protein shake, so those go are a little bit smoother than like the protein
true.
powder.
Yeah, good point. That
Like
is.
the powder protein does feel a little like, it gives me like sloshy stomach a little bit,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, I just do a Fairlife protein shake, 2 Rice Krispie treats, a teaspoon of salt.
I
I'm gonna
love
add
Rice
just like a
Krispie treats
small
too.
disclaimer of like this teaspoon of salt. I do it like a tequila shot, lick the back of my hand, salt on top, lick it off, take some water down. It probably marginally helps with a pump, maybe helps with a little bit of clarity, but I would not recommend it to the general public. You're getting enough salt in your diets as is. Talk to your
Yeah,
doctor before adding salt, especially people who deal with high blood pressure. Don't be, it's
right.
almost guaranteed that you should not be adding salt on top of,
Yeah.
unnecessarily, I should say.
Yeah.
You're probably getting enough salt and sodium in general from eating your food. This is a very specific thing that I am going to be transparent about, but like I wouldn't recommend most people do that.
Yep. So I think it's pretty simple. I like Oreos or like frozen cookie dough, Rice Krispie treats. Those are all things I've
Something
eaten
that can
before.
digest very fast, something low in fats and fiber, so
Yeah.
that, because otherwise digestion is going to slow down a lot and might
Yeah.
mess with you a bit.
Someone just put, I really like using Macro Factor. That's it. They knew that you needed
Love
to
it.
plug
Love
your
it. Yep.
code.
Macro Factor, use code Alex for a 2-week free trial.
Why don't you explain what that is?
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it brief. It's a
Yeah.
diet coach. It's a diet app that allows you to track your calories. The huge benefit to it is that it charts your expenditure over time, your calorie expenditure, so you know exactly how many calories you're burning every day. So, like right now, I can go into my phone, look at how many calories I'm expending. It gives me a goal target, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just checked my phone because I was going to pull it up, and I just got a client that texts me, thumbs up, I'm excited to work with you, because I told her shoot me a
Aww.
thumbs up, so that's pretty
Yay,
exciting.
I love that. Yeah. So use code Alex for
2-week free trial.
2-week free
Yep.
trial.
Yep.
Free trial. Yep.
Sorry for that ad read.
Yeah. At this point, we need them to sponsor the podcast, and we can just do
I wonder. I could reach out to
you should reach
Greg.
out. Let's try it. Let's do it. Our first
The
sponsor
fact that
of
I
the
just said
podcast.
like I can reach out to Greg Knuckles is
Yeah,
like,
I don't know if people as many people like
yeah,
not you
fair.
and me would know how substantial and pretty freaking cool that is. But yeah, Greg Knuckles is just like
somebody on my.
insane.
I'm just gonna. Can I just say one more thing, like gloating
Yes,
for
go
like
it.
1 second, because I know
Yeah.
you'll appreciate this. New client applicant today that I was talking to. She says, yeah, I did Stronger You for a while, but when Mike left, it became a little bit too corporate feeling.
Mhm.
And I was like, I love Mike. And she's like, you know Mike? I was like, yeah, I guess he's like a friend of mine, like Mike
Yeah.
Dola.
Yeah.
And like, that is like, wow, I'm making it. Like I have all these crazy connections, and it's like,
yeah,
it's just so surreal. I'm so proud
it is
of
cool.
myself.
And again, it's because you talk to people and you network so freaking well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love
I
it.
just say hi.
I'm 1 degree removed from everyone by you. So
What'd you say?
So I'm 1 degree removed from everyone by you.
Yeah.
I'll
You're the
take it.
person who captivated me, and I captivated everybody else.
There you go. Exactly. Next one is intermittent fasting. Yay or nay?
I know like what you're going to say is probably context needed, and I agree with that. But if we're looking at really blanket statement, I'm going to say,
Mine's going to be blanket. Yeah.
I'll say blanket statement, nay.
Mine is
That just needs
if
context.
you really enjoy not eating breakfast, yay. If you like breakfast, nay. That's how simple I'm going to keep it.
I would actually go the other route of like, man, I don't know. We just came off of our longest fasting period, which is sleep. The
Yeah.
idea of pushing back, like spending more time in muscle protein breakdown, which in my opinion right now is, you can quote me on this, in 2 years, I think muscle protein breakdown will be more and more important in research in 2 to 3 years from now. I think we're
Yeah.
going to start seeing that trend away from looking at solely muscle protein synthesis and start looking at muscle protein breakdown to a higher
Yeah.
degree. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Like
Yeah.
just eat your protein,
Yeah.
spread your protein target across 3 to 4 meals. So intermittent fasting, if muscle growth is a goal, I think you have to be very clever about it. I think you should be starting your day with a high protein meal and then spreading out your protein evenly as possible.
Yeah.
But if like maximum muscle growth is a goal, I would not recommend it. However, it can be a helpful tool for reducing calorie intake. The thing I don't like about it is that it almost teaches you to ignore your hunger cues, and
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, because you have such a small window to eat, and so you're like, well, I got to get my calories in, so I've got to push through kind of eating. And
Yeah,
I don't know. I've also had clients who, I mean, one, don't enjoy breakfast, which is fine, but I've had
sure.
other clients where they physically, like, when they would try to eat breakfast, they physically like would get ill. They would throw up every time they
Yeah.
try to eat breakfast. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what their body's doing, but I'm like, don't force feed yourself breakfast then. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Right.
okay if
It's
you
not that
wait to eat.
serious. Yeah, it's
Not that
fine.
serious. It's okay if you wait till 10 or 11 a.m.
For
to eat
sure.
breakfast. Like, if you
For
really
sure.
feel that nauseous in the morning when you're eating food. So it's like you said, could it be a helpful tool to reduce your calories? Potentially, yes.
Potentially, but some other people
Potentially.
might overeat because of it.
Yeah, and but then you negate all your hunger cues, and then, like, well, what happens when you go on vacation? What happens when you don't have access to food during your intermittent fasting times? Like, it's just not. I don't think personally sustainable long term if you have things going on. So
Rigid rules around food. I don't like, whether it's what you
yeah,
eat, when you can eat. I do not
yeah,
like these rigid rules around food because I don't know if it teaches us as well as we could,
yeah,
how to manage our intake. And I think if you can have a very general understanding of intake, what you need, what you should be eating, just general patterns, you'll be better off because of it. And this is not one of the food eating systems or rules that allows you to kind of experiment with that
yeah,
in a way
yeah,
that I would like.
yeah, totally. Next one is any downside to adhering to weekly calorie goal versus daily goal. Same overall calories eaten. I guess saying
Out
like you eat the
outside
same.
of oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to
No,
clarify the question. She's basically just saying if you have a weekly calorie goal, let's say you're trying to eat, I don't want to do that.
2000.
Yeah, 2,000 calories, 2,000 is 14,000 calories in a
Yeah,
week.
yeah,
Is it better to eat 14? Make sure you're hitting 14,000 calories at the end of the week, or just make sure every day you're hitting 2,000. And
yeah.
that's what she's
So
asking. So,
calorie cycling versus standard
yes.
calories across the week. And I would
Yep.
say, like, outside of extreme situations, it's totally fine to focus on the weekly
I don't
average.
see any downsides, like you said, outside
Yeah.
of extreme. Yeah.
Right. The only extreme I'm thinking is if somebody was like 600 calories, 600 calories, 600 calorie, 4,000 calorie.
Binge.
It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but most people, it's like taking away 10, 15, 20% of their calories and then allocating them to a day they like more. And that
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with.
Yeah, I don't see any downside to it at all. If anything, I see more upsides because then you could cycle during the week, have more flexibility on the weekends when you have social events.
Yep.
Again, outside of the extremes, like I was just talking about, where is it calorie cycling or is it a binge? Like, are you trying to
Right.
eat 1,000 calories a day so you can binge on the weekends? Sure. Outside of any, I think with any question we answer, like there's exceptions and extremes to
There will
certain
always
things.
be it depends, but
Yeah, it's always an it depends, but no, I don't see any downside of adhering to. Honestly, that's what matters. I mean, if you're hitting your daily goal, you're going to hit your weekly calorie goal. So what matters the most is that you're hitting that weekly calorie goal. So
agree.
at the end of the day, so cool. Okay, last few coming in.
No, we still
Go
have like
to
quite a bit more.
yeah, yeah, but I think some
Eight.
of these we can
We
shoot
can we
through.
can rapid fire.
Yeah. Go to snacks. I'll be honest. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you start.
So I just did a fridge walkthrough the other day that has a
Uh huh.
bunch of high protein snacks.
Uh huh.
Though I would go through that, but like hard boiled eggs, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt are some staples for me. Those are like my
Yeah.
high protein snacks. Beef jerky sometimes,
Yeah.
Rice Krispie treats rarely, more when I'm in a bulk, less when I'm in a cut.
Yeah.
Protein shakes, those are things that come to mind. I'm allergic to a lot of fruits. Otherwise, fruit would be a big one for me.
What fruits are you allergic to? I
So
really
many,
need us to do an
dude.
episode of your allergies. I really want the breakdown of this because I don't even know
Maybe
the
we
most
should just
people.
do like a life episode and allergies as a chapter in there
Yeah,
because
that
like just an
works.
entire episode about my allergies would be so boring.
Okay. Anyways,
I
keep going.
think at least.
Allergic
I
to a
don't
lot of
know.
fruit. Yeah, I don't know. I find it fascinating you're allergic. I had a client who was allergic to vegetables and fruit. And I thought that was just mind-boggling that you're allergic to fruits and
I'm allergic to like
vegetables. So
chicken and turkey
went
too.
to
You
the
know that,
hospital
right?
because she accidentally had a carrot in her salad one time. And I was
Yeah. Oh
like, I
yeah.
knew it was no joke. I know allergies are no joke, but it was just, it's crazy that something so nutritious for you, you can be so deathly allergic to, you
I should
know?
send you a photo one time. I back in like 2016, 2017, I had to go to the hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack.
Uh-huh.
And I was like giving my dad instructions on how to give me CPR because I
Oh
thought
my
like I was gonna
gosh.
be like out any second.
Yeah.
And so we get there, they're trying to figure out what's going on. I'm in immense amounts of pain. My back was covered in hives. I'll send you a pic
Oh
after
my
this if I
gosh.
remember. It was wicked. Yeah. There have been like a few run-ins
Crazy.
like that have been like really, really, really bad.
Do you carry your
Um,
EpiPens on you at all times when you go out? Like out
I
and about?
this is going to be exemplary of America right now.
You don't
For so
have,
many years,
oh,
I was too broke to afford new EpiPens.
yeah, which is sad.
Like
That's
January
the
of this
reality.
year, I bought a new EpiPen and felt like so good about it because I mean it was like a
Yeah.
couple $100, but like it was for the first time that like I felt that I
Well, a couple
had
$100 with your, do you have insurance that you,
yes,
yeah, it's a couple $100
yes.
with insurance.
Right. And
Yeah.
so and like, I know there's please don't send me messages about good RX and all this. Please don't send me messages about like, oh, why are you not spending money on medicine? Please don't do
Yeah.
any of that. That's too much. And it's not like I didn't have $100 before January. It was just like that was an expense that I felt that I didn't need. That's it. There's nothing
Yeah.
deeper than that.
Well, and people don't realize like EpiPens expire. So it's like you
Yes,
can just
every
buy
year.
one.
So it's like, okay, I've gone 5 years without ever dealing with this. Maddie and I
Yeah.
barely leave the house for food. Like when we
Yeah.
do, it's like trusted restaurants only.
Right.
So it was
Yeah.
just like a thing that I didn't need. We were traveling. So for vacation, I was like, probably a good idea to have this updated.
Yeah.
But yeah, every time it's like a couple $100 that I just throw away because I haven't used them, which
Yeah.
is,
And if you don't have insurance, it's like 700, 800, maybe
it's
even
so expensive.
$1,000, something
I
like that. I
remember.
think it's insane. So, anyways, back to go-to snacks. I think you listed most of yours.
Yep.
I'll be honest, I'm not a big snacking person as much as I used to be. I used to be like, I'm the snack queen. I love snacks. I can never stop snacking. But I now realize if I just make my meals more filling and more higher in
Facts.
calories, I stop snacking as much. So my biggest go-tos are honestly like I have here on my desk a bowl of it's strawberries, blueberries, granola, and yogurt. When I'm gonna cut, I'll usually take out the granola because that's higher in calories.
Yep.
But that's pretty much my big go-to, apart from shakes, protein shakes, and bars. But other than that, I just pretty much usually in a cut, I take whatever calories that I have to go towards a snack, I throw that to my meals, and I'm just more satiated throughout the day that I don't feel these need for snacks. So there really is like a snack being thrown in. It's typically something I'm craving. So if it's like a couple Oreo cookies or frozen cookie dough. But I just, apart from those three, I don't really snack that much anymore.
Yeah.
So I hate to say that because I'm sure she's looking for some more answers, but that might actually help in that
It's
reality
almost
too.
this isn't a meal, but I see you either making sandwiches or soups. I know those are meals, not snacks, but like
Yes, correct. Yeah, but those are so
they're
filling for
so
me. Something
easy to put
easy.
together. Yeah.
Sandwiches are so filling for me, and soups are really too. I think all that liquid just sitting in,
Yeah.
and it's like I have like lentils with high fiber,
Oh,
and then the
nice.
protein.
Yep.
It's honestly really filling. So yeah, I just always make sure my meals are filling.
Uh,
Um,
Next, have you tried allergy shots for your food allergies? I don't know if that's possible, but maybe. I don't know. No.
haven't looked
Yeah.
into it.
Nah, I'm not gonna either. It's fine.
Okay. What's your favorite workout? Probably asking like exercise is what I'm thinking.
Favorite exercise? Maybe like a. It's tough. Maybe a. Man, it's tough. Maybe a
What
wrist
about
height
right now in
cable.
this moment, in the last like month? What's been your favorite exercise?
Maybe a wrist height cable lateral raise. Either that or a upper arm supported bench supported preacher cable curl. Maybe
Okay.
one of those two.
Mine's no cheat curls. I have been obsessed with those lately.
Doing
I
it on
love
the
no
lat
cheat
pull down
curls.
machine.
Yeah, where you stick
Yeah,
your arm against it. Yeah, no cheat
the pad.
curls. And
Yeah,
then I really love walking lunges. That's got to be an all time. I love walking lunges.
you're crazy for
So
that.
do what?
You're crazy for that. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
badass. Like that you like walking
Thanks.
lunges. Like
I
that
don't know.
says
I
something about
just
you.
Yeah, I like them. They feel
'Cause
badass.
you
That's
gotta
probably why
dig
I like
deep.
them.
You gotta dig deep to get those,
You
you know?
do. Like, you really
Yeah.
gotta push through, and it's kinda nice that you're not stagnant because I feel like the fact that you're
Sure.
moving helps to process through the
Yeah,
pain.
you're like, "I'm going to that distance," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep,
And so,
yep.
because when you're just stagnant doing, like, deficit reverse lunges, which I love those as well, but, like, you're stagnant, like, it's pushing through that pain's harder than when you're moving. You're so focused on, like, taking the next step forward that you don't have a lot of time to think about how much pain you're in, you know?
Leg extensions for me. I love leg extensions.
Ooh.
I could do those every day.
Yeah, I love leg extensions too. Those are
Yeah.
good.
Those are just like it's such a just you just focus on the output, you know? But I think wrist
Yeah.
height cable lateral raise, I love my delts,
Yeah.
Gotta keep building those things. So
Yeah.
I just hammer them, you know?
Yeah. I love that. Next one. This is very sweet. Why are you both so cool and have such nice mindsets to fitness? I don't know who to hire as my future coach. Oh,
It's really nice.
that
That's
is
like
so sweet. I
that's
love
really,
that.
really sweet. Man, who
You
would you
just hire us both
hire?
at the exact same time.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Solve your
just dig
problem.
deep into those pockets and hire us both and see what
Yeah.
see what pans
Yeah.
out.
I guess the only thing I want to say to this one is like, if you don't know who to hire, like you also realize you can get on calls with us both
Yeah.
and
Oh my
like
god.
talk to
Yes.
us and see what would be better for
I
you.
have told people that I've talked to that I want you to talk to Bri as well. And I want everybody listening to know that like Bri and I have such high respect for each other
We
that
do.
anybody that we want really good results, we would feel comfortable either coaching them ourselves or handing them off to the other person.
Yeah.
If there is ever a client that I think that I may not be a good fit for, the first person that I recommend is Bri. And that is
Aw.
no question in my mind. I respect her brain as a coach. I respect you as an individual on a
Yeah, yeah,
personal
yeah.
level as well.
Yeah.
You're one of my best friends.
Well, thank you.
But as a coach, she knows her shit. And so like I feel just as comfortable referring somebody to her as I would taking care of them myself.
Yeah. If I die tomorrow, all my clients are coming to you, just so you know. So
I am screwed because my workload just got insane.
no, I guess that's my point in just saying like ditto to everything
Yeah.
you said. Like
Yeah.
if I died, I'd be like, well, this is in my will. It just
If
says
I if I
all
stopped
clients go to.
if I stopped coaching, I'd be telling everybody like please work with Bri.
Yeah. So just get on a call with both of us. If you really need to just kind of
Sure.
talk to us and feel it out. And if you still don't know, I don't know, just like
DM us or
make a pros
something.
and cons list or something, or just figure out
Yeah.
how to pay for us both.
And if you do a pros and cons list, please share it with us.
Send
Please
it
share
to
the
us,
cons with us,
please.
especially.
I
Yeah,
need to see what my cons were.
I
I won't
need to
be
see.
offended either.
No, I wouldn't be offended if people were like, Alex just sounds like a douche, you know? And like Bri
Yeah.
sounds like so nice and uplifting, and Alex sounds like a hard ass. I'd be like, yeah, I get it, whatever.
Yeah. There you go. Next one is single leg glute. I don't know how this is a question. Oh, wait, maybe I do. Single leg glute activated exercises besides clamshells. Okay, so they're asking for exercise besides clamshells that are single leg that activate your glutes.
Sure. And I want to be a little bit particular about the language here. I'm just going to be a
Yeah,
little bit stick in the mud on this.
I like that. No,
Your
whenever you're
glutes are
going.
always activated. There are no specific exercise that you have to do. Like let's say you're doing a hip thrust down the road. You doing the hip thrust, the bar will not move unless your glutes are activated. Your glutes are
Yeah,
always activated. If you're standing up straight, your glutes are activated.
yeah,
If you're squatting down, your glutes are activated. So you don't need to do any of these like it's kind of been like a buzz around like the last 5 years to do these like activation drills. And while yes, there might get a little bit more blood flowing there, they aren't going to make subsequent exercises more potent or more effective for the
right.
muscle that you're air quote activating. So if we're just talking about like glute biased, single leg glute biased exercises, that's a whole other conversation that we could definitely get into. Do you have any in mind?
I kind of understand this activation thing because the
Okay.
whole point of her, she wasn't asking like what are good
Yeah.
exercises to
Sure.
do for glutes.
Fair.
So
Fair.
if we want to try to not go on too many tangents, make this too long, I think what you said exactly. Keep going down the activation thing. Do you have more to add to that, or do you? Okay,
No.
I was just gonna say what Alex said. The fact if you're walking into a gym, your glutes are activated, so you don't need to do anything. The best use of your time activating your glutes, I'm doing quotations, there's
Warm up
not
set.
activation, would be warm up sets,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
the whole reason you would be the intention behind this whole activating your glutes is that your glutes are working better in a certain exercise. The best way to make sure your glutes are ready to handle the load and go is do the damn
Do
exercise that
the
you're gonna do.
exercise.
Yeah,
Yes.
with a lighter weight.
With
And
a lighter
so
weight. Yep.
there is a thing to warm up. Warm up is totally a thing. I think people take activation like warming up when that's
Yep.
not, I would say this the same. If you're going to warm up, it's good to, because one, you lubricate the joints really well. And
Yep.
then you get you neurologically ready to be lifting some weight. And so doing 1 or 2 sets with a lower amount of weight for the exercise you're about to do. You don't need to do it for every exercise you're doing on a glute day.
No.
One, maybe two exercises, depending on what you're doing.
Yep.
Warm up, 1 or 2 sets, and you're good. Your glutes have been activated the second you got out of bed that morning. You don't need to activate them anymore. So,
Yep. Agreed.
cool.
I guess just like some single leg glute exercises,
Yeah.
not activation. Cast glute bridge, B stance, single leg
Yeah.
B stance is preferred for me, just for kickstand, a little bit of balance. Glute medius kickbacks,
Yeah.
those are great. Single leg press, those would be phenomenal. B stance RDLs, those would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Single
that's
leg, you said glute bridge, but I guess single leg like hip thrust. I guess you could
sure.
say that,
Yeah,
that would be a good
sure.
one too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
like
guess you
glute
could somehow
bridge.
single
I
leg a
like a
45
cast.
degree hip extension. What?
Yeah, you could bend one.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I'm going to try it
That'd be
at the gym.
crazy. I feel like
Yeah.
the twisting, you might like
I
twist around the
know.
hips a little bit.
I'm
I
going
don't
to
know.
try it next time at the gym and see if I can do
Yeah,
it.
send me a video if it's like kind of
Okay.
cool or not.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, those come to mind, but like I
yeah.
don't know if that's what you're looking for, so we'll leave it
Yeah.
there.
Okay. Next one is cardio on lifting days or keep them separate.
Depends on the intensity for me personally. I would say like
Yeah.
if they are on the same days, I would do your lifting first. Like always put what your priority is first. For most people, that's going to be muscle growth and strength development before your
Right.
cardio gains. Um, you know, I think on leg day, especially going in from like a leg day to like a run or a bike, I'm not going to say there's like a huge interference effect because as we keep getting farther into the research, it feels like there's less and less and less of an interference effect.
Yeah.
But like on the off chance that there is a small interference effect, I'm not doing a run immediately after a leg day
Yeah.
personally. If there's hours between it, it's probably fine. If the intensity is very low, like it's just walking, there's probably no interference effect at all.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I agree with everything you said. And the one thing I'll add is like, also what kind of time do you have in your hands? Are you like,
mm,
you work 80 hours a week and you have 3 days a week that you can work out this exact time and you can't split up your cardio from your lifting?
mm.
Okay, then your only choice is to do them on the same days that you lift. So prioritize your lift and then do it after. But yeah, I think if you, I mean, like you said, on the off chance, there could be some effect, keep them separate, especially if like you're like, okay, my goal is to like run a half marathon and then also lift.
Yeah. Oh man,
You're definitely going to want to do them on separate days. But if you're just like, hey, I'm running like a mile after I lift, just run
fine,
the mile after you lift.
fine,
Don't separate them
totally
out. That's
fine.
fine.
Yep,
Like you said, so all of our questions, it depends
it
on what the
depends.
specific scenario
Yeah.
is. So yeah,
Last question.
I'll let you read it.
It was too long, so it couldn't fit in the box. So she asked, "Does it negatively impact muscle growth to train a muscle with lifting, and then do another workout, Pilates, for example, the next day that also does some training of the same muscle group?" Thinking this because it would delay recovery. So she's asking, like, if you do like a leg workout or something like that, and then you go do Pilates and it's a lot of leg
The
stuff,
next
like,
day.
yeah, the
Yeah.
next day, will that interfere with muscle growth? And man, I hate to say it depends, but like
Yeah.
it depends. And I think the thing that I'd be looking at is like intensity.
Yeah.
If at any point the intensity of your exercise is, let's say you plan on doing 2 leg days per week and you plan on doing them Monday and Thursday. Let's just throw it out
Yeah.
there, okay?
Yeah.
And on Monday, you have a pretty hard leg day. Tuesday, you go do Pilates, and that was just like that on top of the leg day was way too much. And now you're so sore that you can't even do the leg day or you're performing at a lower potential for that.
Yeah.
That would be an issue. So I think if you plan on doing Pilates the day after and it's consistently, program with that in mind. Maybe don't
Yeah.
do legs like right before. Although I guess if you go to this Pilates class, she probably doesn't know exactly what muscle groups you'll be working. You know what I mean? Like if you just show up for a
Sometimes they
class.
give you a like what you're going, like spin
Mm,
classes, you'll kind of know what you're going into. They have a title
yep.
for the class. And
Yeah.
I feel like Pilates is a lot of full body stuff. But
True.
again, like you said, intensity. I mean, some of it's, it depends what it is, but it's a lot of core work. And so when it comes to your upper body, like I'm not trying to like shit on Pilates, like
And like
sliding your
Pilates is
body.
hard. Like I'm not trying to say
Yeah.
Pilates isn't hard. It's just like different than lifting hard.
Yeah, I feel like upper body is nowhere near as intense in Pilates. It's more like your core and your lower body that's more intense. So it's like you keep saying, it's just an it depends scenario of like what you're going into with Pilates. But I'll let you keep going. I kind of interrupted there. So
No. I think everything that you said is like basically the route I was going to go. I
yeah,
don't think I have anything additional that I want to say. It's like, unfortunately, yeah, it just depends, and if it's interrupting with your recovery from like, you'll know let me just say that you will know. And how you'll know is because you won't be able to walk, or the next time you try to do a leg day or upper body day or whatever it is that's interfering, like you'll be sore. And muscle might be sore to touch. It might be sore like to move. And if you're not able to train at 90% plus capability, and that's be due to the Pilates the next day, it's like, you might want to dial back either the Pilates and
terrible too.
If your sleep is terrible, if your energy is really low, it's like these are things that I'd be looking at that you might want to dial back the intensity of one or both things.
I think it also, so does it potentially really just depends on the scenario. And I think you also have to look at, what trade-offs are you willing to take? Again, back to the example of if you work 80-hour weeks and you get 2 days a week to work out, and you can do a lower body and a Pilates days back to back, and that's all you have available, then you may just have to do that and take some of the negative impact, but just know that you're going to build some muscle, just not recover probably as well. And like Alex said, adjust for the intensity and probably have to program around that and figure it out from there. So,
and let's say that this Pilates isn't that intense. I've heard Pilates is pretty intense. I've never personally done it. But if it's not intense and it's almost just like some nice little flows, some nice little movements, like, dude, not at worst case, but like it might help recovery. I'm not saying like do Pilates to improve your recovery. That's not at all what I'm saying. It's just right now what we have in recovery science, in my opinion, is pretty limited on conclusive like evidence. Colby Souza was my powerlifting coach. He's doing a PhD in Auckland on active recovery. And it was like 2 years ago that he was basically like, maybe walking helps a little bit. I think he said this, don't quote me. Sorry, Colby, if I'm messing it up. But I think he was like, walking might help a little bit, but it's not super promising. But I think he still had to do his study or something like that. I don't remember.
All that to say, yes, it could potentially delay recovery. It just depends on what your setup is.
Or it could help recovery. Who knows? It's tough to say, and it really depends.
But again, if your only option is to do Pilates, like you just, it just kind of depends, I think, on like the Pilates day, what the focus is on. Again, if it's like the Pilates day you're going is core and booty or something day, well then, okay, let's do your upper body day on the day before, and then do your Pilates that next day, and just try to situate as optimally as you can. But then if your life doesn't allow for that, then you just do your best.
Do your best.
So cool.
All right, let's wrap it up.
That was our last question, wasn't it?
That was.
Cool. Awesome. Well, you have anything else you want to add closing out, or?
No, this was a really fun podcast. Thank you to everybody who asked the questions. This was a really good one.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I like that we did
some fun questions,
answering everything.
Silly...
I love the fun questions. Those are great. So as always, if you guys are listening to this episode, please make sure to screenshot and share it on your stories and tag us. It's a free way to help support us, so we can get the word out and have more people listen to our podcast. Anything else you want to say wrapping up?
No, I think the last thing is like, I think I got a client from this podcast. So like, you guys use screenshotting and sharing it and getting new viewers and listeners for us. Like, it seriously helps us grow our business. I mean, it sounds silly, but like it's a really massive push when you vouch for us and your followers, even if you have 50 followers, they see like, oh, there's a fitness nutrition podcast that person recommends. I'll check it out. It means a lot. So thank you to all the listeners. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for giving us 5 stars. That's it for me.
Appreciate it. Well, you guys all have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Take care, guys.